do a lot of work on your car yourself, like me, you've probably been navigating around various small axle stands and car jacks over the years to get to the parts that need fixed. I've owned the crappy wee car jacks that don't lift the car very high at all. I then, about 4 years ago, upgraded to a low profile Sealey car jack, and now I've taken a step a bit further. So in this video I'll be showing you a quick unboxing of the full system, showing the contents inside the box, and then doing a quick setup, including bleeding the whole system to get the ramps working. And then I'll show it in action under the car. And hang around till the end because I'll give you overall thoughts on the system, whether it's a worthy investment or not, and also some pointers when you're using it if you plan to invest in one yourself. And talking of investment, I'll be covering the overall costs of the system, what I paid for it, and the bargain delivery charges I've given as well, compared to the very inflated £330 I got quoted by a different company for a similar setup. Anyway, let's get started. The Sealey hydraulic lift came in this really well packaged wooden box, and as you can see there's quite large packages coming out of it. These are about 40 kilograms each for the two ramps themselves, and yes, I am particularly strong. The larger box, this contains the main hydraulic pump which will power both the ramps, and the smaller box contains all your hoses, the rubber blocks that go on the ramps below the sills of your car, and also the instruction booklet as well. Now onto the ramps, which had polystyrene packaging around both ends of them to protect the edges. Just to note as well, there's wheels on one end of each of the ramps, and this just helps move the ramps around in the garage or out in the driveway if you lift them up on the opposite end. And you get two sizes of blocks, so you get slightly higher blocks if you've maybe got something that sticks out from the bottom of the car, which you need to avoid with the ramps. These give you a bit more space between the ramps and the lifting point on the car. These longer blocks are actually ideal for using on the Leon because it's got some sort of aero plastic part under the car, which I'll show you a picture on screen now, and it was catching the side of the ramps as I was jacking it up, so the bigger blocks definitely helped here. You get these handy handles as well, so if the ramps are sitting in the middle of your garage under your car, you can reach in under the car with these handles, grab the side of the ramps and pull them out towards the sides of the car. And as you expect, loads of warning stickers all over the ramps, and their maximum capacity for lifting is 2¼ tons. Now once the ramps are out of their boxes, you need to thread the hydraulic hoses that are on the ramps themselves through a gap here under the edge of the ramps. They can't be caught in the mechanism. You need to make sure they come out the bottom of the ramp and off to the side. This just stops them from getting caught or snagged whenever the ramps are going up or down. Next on to filling up the hydraulic oil, so we're putting in here 1.8 litres just now to fill up the reservoir up to its maximum level. Now onto connecting those two separate hoses onto the motor itself and onto the ramps, and you can't get this wrong because of the ends, you only can do it one way. So this is bleeding the system here to get all the air out of the pipes initially. Now we've got 1.8 litres just now of hydraulic fluid in the system, and this will need topped up in a wee bit once we've done this process. So you're looking to raise and lower the ramps a good number of times, 5 to 10 times or so, and this is meant to purge out all the excess air in these pipes gradually. You'll see the ramps start to go up, but they'll be jittery as they go up and on the way down as well. And this is just wee bubbles of air in the system, which is normal, but needs taken out of the system before you use them properly. Now note the clicking noise you'll be hearing. This is a safety mechanism for these arms on the side. You'll see the wee feet here, the wee silver feet. Now if you're looking to lower the ramps after you've raised them up, you need to take the pressure off by raising the ramp a bit further up past these notches, fold the feet underneath like this, and then you can lower it down safely. Make sure obviously you do both ramps like this. You can't have one ramp secure and one ramp ready to go down. You need to make sure both ramps are equally ready to go down so that you don't have any unbalance on the car. So I'm really impressed with these overall. One thing to note is now I've put them back down to their flat position, completely flat. The reservoir is showing at the min level now and not the max level that I filled up to, so I might just put a wee bit more oil in just to get it close to the max, because when it's at full height up the way, you can hear it like it's like running dry on the motor there. Not that it should keep on going and going and going, but there's like a little bit at the end that it probably could go up a little bit more yet, and it's just starting to kind of soak the last of the fluid from the reservoir. So I might just put a wee drop more in so that when it's flat like this back in the resting position, that it's actually getting closer back to the max, because that's the thing, is when the hydraulic oil is going in, obviously the reservoir is going pretty much empty, and then as it goes back down again, the fluid goes back into the reservoir. So don't be scared if that reservoir obviously depletes as it's going up. Another thing I was going to note was there's actually that's in the way now, but there's actually 3 stops on these, so there's 3 different heights you can work at. You must remember that with these types of hydraulic lifts, they need to go up past the first notch and then rest back down on it as a safety mechanism. So that stops them from just, if they lost pressure, they wouldn't actually drop at all because it'd be on the catch. And there's actually 3 catches in this instead of just 2 that I've seen on other lifts. I'm sure the branded ones, quick lift jacks, they only have 2 positions. Yeah, relatively easy to keep the hoses all connect up. There's no way you can get them back to front. They've got male and female ends. Obviously, if you do ever disconnect the hoses, they do recommend that you put the red plastic caps back on top to make sure that it's not going to get any dirt or muck inside the end of the hoses so they don't become contaminated. And yeah, it'd just be a case of probably I'll have this motor up against the wall near the plug socket. Obviously, these hoses are plenty long enough to reach the ramps. Obviously, the ramp that's furthest away from the wall will need the full extent of the hose, but the one that's closer won't need as long a hose. What I'm planning with these is that when they're not being used, they'll just be sat in the centre of the garage and I can just roll over the top of them without them being in the way at all and work on the car as normal. And then if I do ever need to get them, obviously this is where the handles come in play. So you get the handles and you can reach under the car pretty much, grab onto the side of these quick lift jacks and then drag them, you know, towards the edge of the car between the wheels. Yeah, really impressed with them overall. Quality is spot on. I imagine they're going to get scuffed up and there'll be bits of paint missing off them and they'll get a bit rusty over time, but that's the same with any kind of garage equipment. You know, it has to get used. It can't just be kept pristine all this time. And I forgot to say as well, a wee plastic holder so you can mount the switch on the wall somewhere. Sorry, you can mount the holder on the wall somewhere and then this switch unit can then sit into the holder, which I thought was pretty nifty. So again, I'll just have that somewhere close by up in the wall there. And it's quite a long cord as well if you look at it. So if you want to see how long the cord is, so you can see the motor down there, and I'm saying it's about maybe 3 meters, 3 meter long extension cord for the switch itself. If I do remember, I'll leave more detailed stats down below in the description, or if I don't do that, please someone tell me in the comments. Kev, you promised to do that, so please do it. Hydraulic oil, so it recommended ISO 32 and 46 in the instruction manual, and yes, I was following the instruction manual as you saw there. This thing I don't want to get wrong. This is a safety thing. I don't want to mess up. It's expensive as well. So the last thing I want to do is do something wrong and, you know, possibly ruin the whole system by not reading instructions properly. So I did read the instructions. Anyway, ISO 32 and 46 hydraulic oil was what I looked for, and I got 32. I looked online, they're the same specification, but what they said the main difference was between 32 and 46 was the 32 was better for colder climates, which obviously we have in the north of Scotland, so I went for the 32. But if you live somewhere hotter, then supposedly it's like engine oil basically, you know, the 5W40 and 5W30 and so on. So if you live in a hotter climate, you're probably better off the ISO 46 one instead. Anyway, I've rambled on enough. I'm going to bring the car in. Hopefully I've kind of done it justice by doing the unboxing and showing you what's happening. As for the mechanism, sorry, I've gone up and down a few times off camera. As for it now, when it's going up, it's not stuttering as much. It's a little bit right at the very top, but if you look at it now, yeah, ever so slightly stuttering on the way up. Possibly with the car being on top, it might be made out to be smoother because there's no actual tension pushing back down on the ramps. So maybe when they've got a car sat on both sides of the ramps, it means it's getting pushed up equally, that makes sense. So yeah, we'll see what it's like with the car on. Now getting the ramps underneath on a flooring that's like mine, PVC flooring, they do slide it a lot easier than they would on normal concrete flooring in a garage, which does help, but also what helps is having a bit of space behind the ramps as well to kind of get down properly and push them in, whereas my garage is quite narrow, so I have to stand up and use my feet most of the time to squeeze them under the car. Then it's time to use the blocks, so I'm using the short blocks here for the Ibiza, but as I was saying earlier on, use the bigger blocks if you've got any sort of interference between the ramps and the bottom of the car before you jack it up. So when jacking up the car, what I do is I raise them up slowly to the bottom of the car before it starts to build up any pressure and start to push the car up. I just go around quickly and double check to make sure the contact points are all correct, there's nothing going to be caught in between the ramp and the car, and then I go back to raising the car properly. So as I'm raising up here, I'm listening out for those safety mechanisms clicking as it goes past each point. So I usually use point 2 and point 3 where the car and the ramp is at its highest. Once it has gone past them, I then lower it back down, and that's where the ramp is now secure and there's no chance of it lowering itself. I got a chance to demo the ramps outside the driveway with the Leon for washing it. This is the ideal situation for me, that I can lift the car high up off the ground properly. The wheels are now lowered out of the arches. I can get inside the arches, I can get the shock absorbers, the springs, I can clean the wheels. It's all now a lot higher as well, so there's no more bending down at a low height to wash the bottom of the car. It's a lot more waist height, so to speak, and it just makes this so much easier and means I can properly wash the car. The roads up here, especially in winter time, salt and grit on the roads really damage the inside of the arches and all the suspension parts, so getting the chance to get in the arches properly now with the car off the ground makes a massive difference. All I would say was that if you're using them outside like this and they're getting covered in soap and water, that you do give them a good drying off before you put them back in the garage, just to stop any corrosion from setting in later on. And yes, I forgot to actually say that you can take the hydraulic hoses off the ramps once the car is fixed in its position and the safety mechanisms are in place. But I do tend to put the caps back over the ends of the hydraulic hoses on the ramps just to make sure that they stay clean and free of any dirt or debris. So after a fortnight of using these hydraulic car lifts, what do I think of the full setup? Well, I'll be pretty honest, they're brilliant. I've used them so much over the last few weeks actually, for both of my cars, the Ibiza and the Leon, and also a Mark III Leon a friend of mine had that was having a gearbox leak. So again, took that in the garage, put the jacks on either side, and the car was up within seconds. So they really are a massive improvement compared to the old setup of dragging a trolley jack around the car to different points, jacking it up, put axle stands under. These just save time massively. I also think they're way safer as well. As long as you follow the instructions and use all the safety mechanisms, once they're up in the air and the car is like up there, it's super stable. I've like rocked the car as you've seen, and it doesn't move at all. It's way more secure, I feel, than just having the kind of flimsy axle stands under there. I don't know about you, but even though I've been working on the cars for a number of years now and doing DIY mechanics, I still get freaked out when I'm lying under the engine looking at the oil sump above my head thinking like, what if this car fell on me? And having something like this in the garage now, it just seems way more secure and safer than just having those axle stands before. Don't get me wrong though, I still put axle stands or a trolley jack under the car and just have them as a second kind of safety mechanism just in case something happened and for some reason the hydraulic jacks failed. Just a point to note as well, if you are putting those axle stands or trolley jacks under the car and lifting them up slightly, don't try and lift up the weight of the car with those new points of contact. I would still leave the full weight of the car over the hydraulic lifts themselves. If you start unsettling the balance with a trolley jack, there's a chance then you might cause damage to the hydraulic lifts themselves, or the whole car might become unbalanced and then tilt back or forward depending where you're jacking it from. So do leave all the weight on the hydraulic lifts, but then have those extra safety mechanisms there just in case. And I'm sure as much as we all joke about reading instructions for things these days, I definitely recommend reading instructions fully for all the safety mechanisms as well and all the safety aspects of these hydraulic lifts before you start using them properly, because it really is important. When it comes to something that you trust your life with, it needs to be used properly, and following those instructions makes sure it gets used correctly. So a quick couple of tips: depending what surface you're using these on, you might need to protect underneath them if you want to keep them like looking good for longer. So in my garage, I'm lucky enough to have this PVC flooring, so I can slide them around no bother, and the flooring isn't going to damage the bottom of the hydraulic lifts. But outside on the driveway, I've got a tarmac driveway, I use the side wooden panels of the box it all came in, and I use them under the hydraulic lifts to stop them from getting scuffed up by dragging them out and in from the car when they're on the driveway. It's inevitable that these things will get scuffed up over time as they get used. They'll start to rust in places. That can't be helped. But if you do want to make it last a bit longer, that's an option, that you use the side wooden panels of the big box it came in to protect them if you are taking it out on a driveway and there's a chance it's going to get scratched. So the cost of these expensive hydraulic lifts, because they are expensive, I won't say that's not the case. These were just over £1,500, the ones I bought, and yeah, that's a lot of money. The postage was only £5.99, surprisingly. They came from Tool Store Direct, the website. I'll leave all the links down below for this item itself and the website. I'm not sponsored by any way by Tool Store Direct. I'm just really impressed that the delivery charges were so small. I really hope they don't change the delivery charges either. I feel that that's more appealing, to have such reasonably well priced or bargain priced delivery charges for such a heavy bit of equipment. And before anyone in the comments says, oh, it must be nice having £1,500 just in your back pocket to spend. I don't at all. I saved up 500 quid in advance to get these, and then I'm going to pay off the other £1,000 worth over the next 4 months interest free through PayPal credit. So I'm not giving out financial advice at all, but what I would say is if you're looking for things like these to get, what I always do over the number of years I've been doing this is I find something I'm looking to buy, I then figure out like how I'm going to work towards paying for that thing. So I've got to do overtime at work, I'm going to do a few more shifts, I'm going to wash a few cars. So do responsibly pay for them yourself the best way you see possible. I'll put as much information down below in the description as possible for you to have a look through, and all the links like I said as well. And if you do have any questions at all that I haven't covered in this video, then please do pop it down in the comments below and I'll look to answer all the questions for you as best as possible. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you soon. Cheers.